Hello and welcome to another building and painting tutorial by me, the Poor English Lord. Now I've learned from my last video, it was a bit of a mistake as it was far too long. So now I'm going to run a much abridged series where I just show you what I've done and the progress I've made so far. Now this one I think you'll find is quite interesting because I'm very excited to tell you about it, as you can tell by the tone of my voice. I have made a wyvern. This is a Games Workshop model, unit in the Imperial Guard of the Astra Militarum. And I used to like I don't know what it's going to be like in the new 9th edition rules, which dates this video, but I don't really like the model. Fortunately for me, I've had a lot of spares, bits left lying around, and my friends a little while ago bought me a Chimera, the transport for the Imperial Guard, and the wyvern is based off of that chassis. So what I did, maybe I'll insert an image, maybe I won't, maybe I'm lazy. What I did is I took some inspiration from the British Army's FV-432, which is a armoured vehicle, a personnel carrier, which can have the back taken out and be replaced with a mortar, and have a mobile mortar going around. I took some inspiration from that, got out my Chimera, got out my bits of spares and an infantry squad I had left lying around, and I've made something I think is pretty quite cool. Ta-da! I think this is a good start for a toy. Now let me just refocus. There, that's better. I think I'm pretty happy with that as a start. As you can see, Chimera chassis, like I say, it's just a Chimera model, but instead of putting the top plate on, which has the turret and the firing ports and like a little hatch door, that was my initial plan, to have the hatch and have the mortar poking out. But I thought with the turret on it wouldn't look right, and you couldn't really cover the turret hole particularly well. So all I've done is quite simply, I've sprayed it white, and I can now see that the bright white light I have above here has made it incredibly luminous. Yeah, all I've done quite simply is build the first few stages of the Chimera, the tracks and the hull and what have you. I've placed this little hatch over the door that was here. I've decided to have the guy out. I've customised him a bit, giving him a pair of binoculars. You'll notice I had, like I said, I've sprayed this white, but I have painted their faces just because I was doing skin on a model I'm going to show you in just a second. And then just decked out the middle with a few little bits and pieces and the all-important mortar from the set, from the heavy weapons sets. I just have a load of them left over. And I think, as a custom build, that looks pretty cool. It works for a wyvern because it's the same size at the base, because like I said, they're both based off the same chassis, and it looks very unique. And it's also incredibly easy to build, because like I say, you just need a Chimera and then a few other bits that you just have lying around. There's just a Vox cast from an infantry set. This comes with the Chimera chassis. There's a few like rifles from an infantry set. You just sort of fill it out. I might put some more details in. I have a few of the backpacks and like water can pieces. I might just fill them in. A few extra shells, that sort of thing, just to fill it up a bit better. And yeah, it was really easy to build, really quite fun, and it obviously makes quite a unique model. And I'm going to make another follow-up video in the not so distant future using the top plate. Like I said, I've left that top plate with the turret on. I haven't used that. I'm going to use that in future to make a hull down tank, or possibly a bunker sort of diorama. It might work as a piece of scenery or a objective in games I play with friends or opponents or whatever. Or possibly it could be a fortification in the game that anyone can man. They can use the heavy bolter turret or whatever it's going to be, the multi-laser turret, for their own troops. And I'm quite looking forward to doing that, and hopefully I won't be too long getting that one out to you, because I think that will look very cool. But the first step is to paint this boy, which I should do over the next few weeks. I really want to get this one done. I'm quite happy and excited for it. And yeah, like I say, it's very easy to build. I've used this plate here. I don't know what it's supposed to be for. It comes in the set. I've never really found a use for it. I don't know if it's supposed to be part of the dozer blade. There is a bit of a panel gap. I might fill that with a bit of green stuff in not so distant future. I was thinking of using the door that comes with the Chimera, but it's a bit thick and heavy, so I've used this plate just because it fills it up, and for the most part, just looking at it on the tabletop, it's nice and well covered. I haven't quite decided on a paint scheme for it. I'm thinking I'm going to go desert camo. If you have any suggestions how you want this to turn out, it's not a democracy, but please suggest it in the comments, and I'll give it a think, and maybe I'll do it in the way you suggest. But you'll have to get them in soon, because I will hopefully start painting this in the not so distant future. Anyway, I have started painting the crew, because this is obviously going to have some crew in it. You have the commander. He's got his, if the camera focuses, he's got his pistol and everything. It's quite simple. I've amputated a hand from the grenade launcher, so it's got a bit of a thing in his hand, and obviously, come on, focus. There we are. I've given him a bit of a wire, a curly sort of wire, which I've made quite easily by having a candle and a piece of sprue, heating up the sprue very carefully and stretching it out and twisting it up a little bit just to give it a bit of a curl. And he's going to stand around here, and I'm going to have to shave that wire off a little bit, but that wire will then connect into the Voxcaster, almost like a sort of telephone receiver handset. And then you have his friend, who I have painted, I've left to last, who's the bloke shoveling, he doesn't stand up on his own, shoveling mortar shells into the mortar. I think it just generally makes it look quite nice, and like I say, put a few extra bits of kit in, and you'll be there. I've painted this guy a bit different to how I normally paint my infantry miniatures. I haven't pre-sprayed him, I just paint him bare bones plastic, which I'm sure is some sort of heresy to most people. And I've also used colours a bit differently to how I normally would. Normally I paint in very typical Cadian style, so khaki, dust coloured, sort of sand coloured cloth, and then a green armour and helmet and everything like that. But this time I've used MTP, multi-terrain pattern, which is what the British Army is currently wearing as my inspiration. See if you'll focus. Yeah, there we are. Look. You can see it's sort of a more mottled camouflage. There's sort of dots and different colours, and his armours are sort of sand colour. Like I say, this is probably going to be a desert design. The British Army in Afghanistan switched to MTP because the thing with Afghanistan is it's not all desert. They once went in desert camo and found that every now and then you suddenly end up in some dense woodland or scrubland or grassland or something like that, and suddenly painting yourself yellow makes you stand out a bit. So multi-terrain comes along because it's the best of everything. It does work quite well, despite the fact it's got like whites and light colours on it, which you'd think would stand out. It does actually blend quite well, and I think on a model on the tabletop, it looks quite nice. I think I'm quite happy with that, and it was incredibly easy to paint. And I'm just going to I'm not going to show you how I painted it because that'll take all day, and I'm terrible at editing. But I'm going to show you the paints I used very, very quickly. Quick video. I painted the entire thing apart from the skin and the boots with Tamir's khaki XF49. That says it's obviously the wrong way around on the camera because it's mirrored. XF49. I love this paint. I've always used it. This has lasted me forever. Good paint, Tamir. I like Tamir. Like I said, I based that entire thing with that, and then I gave it a very quick Zandri dust over the armour, which to make it stand out. There is a bit of a colour difference between the two. It's quite hard to describe, but together they do work quite well because they are quite similar colours. I then give a very, very light non-oil wash over the cloth, not the armour. I might come back and wash the armour later. I'll definitely highlight it because obviously I haven't finished highlighting it, even though it still looks reasonable, just with the two layers of different coloured paint. Like I said, I gave the cloth the non-oil wash to get a bit of shadow, a bit of depth all over, very light. It also mottles the khaki because the khaki is a fairly bright, I say bright, light colour anyway. And then I jumped onto 2 other paints. The Death Guard green went on first, followed by Ceramite white. And all I did to do this was get my nice sharp sort of brush. It won't focus, will it? There we are. I got my nice sharp little brush, and I ruined it by just stroking random pattern onto it. And I sort of thought, oh, it's not really working. As I put the Zandri dust on, it's not really working. I don't know if it's going to take. And I put the white on, and suddenly, as you sort of get halfway, it just magically sort of heals itself, and it just sort of all came together, and it looks really nice. And it was so simple to do, even I could do it. And I think it's very unique, and it's very easy. You can change it up. You can use slightly different colours to make it your own, which I always recommend people do their own thing, because it's your army at the end of the day. It's your model. You're not recreating something, you're using inspiration. But one thing I do want to know is, would people put brown on this? I haven't put any brown on this, but I'm thinking it's sort of dark woody brown, or sort of maybe a mud brown. Might add to it, but I don't want to overdo it. So take a note of that colour, and put in the comments what you think if you'd add to that or not. I'll leave it up to you to decide if you'd add the brown. I'll probably put that as a vote just by reading through it. And yeah, like I say, a really fun thing to build. Really looking forward to painting it, and a really easy, quite nice, I think, paint on that. It was so easy, and I'm thinking I'm probably going to start doing that on all of them, because it does look quite nice. Much better than just sort of a very simple paint. And to be fair, only a couple extra steps. You don't need to highlight it or do anything to make the cloth look special. It was so easy and quick to do. And yeah, I'm very happy with it. I will keep you up to date on these sort of almost like diary entries on how this progress is going. And like I say, please leave a like and comment on how you want, how you think, if I should add some brown to this camouflage, how you think I should paint up my mortar carrier, and yeah, please subscribe if you're not already. Please share this video with your friends, and I'm sorry for the terrible upload schedule. I'll never get better at it. And thank you very much for watching. I've been the Poor English Lord, and you've been a wonderful audience. Goodbye.